Welcome back to Julie's Wreath Boutique. I hope you enjoy this tutorial. I loved making it. We did the petals just a little different this time, and we're adding this adorable sign from Trendy Tree. Okay, so let's talk about what we're going to use for this wreath. I'm going to use a Dollar Tree wreath form. If you have one that is like a 14 inches, you could use this. If you have a smaller frame, you could use that as well, like maybe a 12-inch. But know that the sign is going to take up a good portion of that, and this is why we're doing this particular tutorial, because I'm going to show you how we're going to cut these a little longer than my original tutorial for them. And then I haven't decided what bow color we will go with, what looks the best at the end here, but this is just clearance ribbon I bought at Walmart over Christmas time, but I like the jute because it kind of brings out the brown in my sign. Now let's talk about the sign. The sign comes from Trendy Tree, and they have all sorts of these signs in different versions with like tomatoes or like watermelons or cherries or grapes, lemons. So you don't have to mimic the same sign that I have, but this is the sign that spoke to me, so this is the one I got. But they do have these in stock right now, April of 2020. And then lastly, we're going to use the Hobby Lobby 5.5-inch rolls of the black and white buffalo check. You know that I'm all about this. I love this. This goes on sale every other week for 50% off, so don't pay the full $11.99 per roll. Get it the next week when it's on sale, okay? And also, I needed, let's see here, we needed like 36 petals. Well, one roll would give me about 16 petals, so I had to cut a little bit extra out of a third roll. So if you wanted to, you could probably get away with the 2 rolls, but maybe use less in the inside of your wreath frame, and I'll talk about that later, but let's get started. Okay, so let's talk about how we're going to cut this burlap. We are going to cut these a little differently than we did the smaller version, and I showed you how to do that, and they were approximately 8 inches long. We're going to go for a 10-inch petal here, okay? So what I do is I take and I use my cutting board here, and I'm just going to put it at the 10-inch, okay? You could do the 1-inch if you want, but for you guys, I'm going to start at the 10-inch. So I'm going to start at an angle, and I'm going to cut up at an angle so that I'm ending at the 12-inch mark, okay? So that creates our first angle. Once you have that angle, this is what you're going to do. You're going to move your burlap onto like the 10-inch here, okay? And I'm going to go down here to the 20-inch. And I'm just going to cut a straight line. It doesn't have to be perfect, like that. And so what that does is it creates our perfect size petal. And we're doing it this way a little bit longer because I want these petals, I want to give you a version of this that you can have a little bit longer petals for your wreath frame. So let's do that again. So I've already created the angle. Remember, you would start at the 10-inch, and you're just going to cut, and your angle is going to end around the 12-inch. This is a little beyond, but that's okay. It doesn't have to be perfect. So then you're just going to move it. But once you get that one angle started, you can just keep doing this over and over. So this is at the 10-inch, and so at the 20-inch, I'm going to just cut. So you're just going to keep cutting that until you get 36 pieces. And so I'm going to finish cutting mine, and we're going to get started. All right, so how are we going to get this started? We are only going to do 2 rows of petals on this wreath because the sign is such a large sign that we won't need 3. So what I want to do is to make sure that petal comes out as far as I can get it to come out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of my pieces of pre-cut burlap, and I'm going to start at the shorter end, and we're going to go to that longer end. And I'm just going to keep gathering it here, all right? And then I'm going to bring it up, and then I kind of play with it a little bit here. Make sure that my tips here are about the same. For the outer ring of petals, I'm going to take a little zip tie here, and I am just going to secure it. Okay. So I'm going to make 18 of these, and then when I come back, I'll have them all ready to start going on my wreath. Okay, so I have my petals made, and we are going to put this on this frame a little differently than I've ever showed you before, okay? And the reason why I told you, I want it to kind of stick out. So I don't want to put it on this because I feel like it would flop. So we want to secure it to these two frames here. So you have 1, 2, 3, and 4. So we're going to work on these 2 bars. So basically what you're going to do is you're going to take a longer zip tie, and it will go through the edge of your petal here. Okay, so you're going to put the zip tie through, and I'm going to show you here. Goes through just wherever you can get it through is great, but I put it right in there. Can you see? And so what I'm going to do is I am going to attach it. I'm not worried about this bracket. We're not going to use the bracket right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to attach it to bar 2 and bar 3. And if you can get a 4-inch to work better and save a little bit, go right ahead. For my hands, these are just the best thing for me to do. So by doing this, it really does make it nice and secure, but at the same time, lets my petal come out further than if I would have just taken like my petal before. I would have just put it right here. So we would have lost, see the difference in the petals? So this way I'm gaining a little bit of diameter for this wreath. So that's what we're gonna do. So I'm just gonna keep looking for my wire cutters here. I'm just gonna do 3 on each section here. Again, you're just gonna take your zip tie and go through. All right. Let's do another one. And so all I'm going to do is I'm going to just repeat this process and go all around the wreath. And then if you want, you can move that zip tie down. So it's not, when you put the next row on, it's not going to be in your way. Okay? So 3 petals per section, and we're going to go all the way around this wreath. Okay, so we're going to do the second part, and I'm going to show you 2 different ways here. And the reason why I want to show you 2 ways is so that you could actually do this with 2 rolls of this burlap versus the 2 plus a few extra petals from the 3rd roll that I'm going to use today. So there's 2 different ways you could do this. You could see the brackets that go around the wreath frame. You could, if you wanted to do 2 rolls, just attach 1 petal on each of these brackets and then do 1 petal in between. So that would make only 12 petals that you would need for the inside, and then you would use 18, which would make a total of 30. You should be able to get 30 cuts with just 2 rolls. So that is if you only want to use the 2 rolls. I'm going to use the 36, I'm going to use the 18, the 36 count, because I've already cut it all out and I just want to make sure that I'm going to cover all the gaps completely. But I do feel like the other version would work as well. So basically what I'm going to do is we're going to focus on bar 4. So we got bar 1, 2, 3, and 4. So what I'm going to do is you're just going to make your petal, and I've already got some that are already connected here. And I'm just going to take my zip tie right here and I'm going to attach it. All right, that's it. So I'm going to do 1. Now that one's going a little bit wonky, so what I'll do is I will clip it and then go the opposite direction of how I put the first one on, and you could probably use a 4-inch at this time. So if they're a little, you know, wonky is what I like to call it. If they want to go a different direction on you, then that just straightens it out. And that works on any kind of petal that you're putting on. If you need to put an extra zip tie on it to kind of straighten it out, you can do that. So I did not go, as you see, I did not do the bracket. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put 3 here. So I'm going to go ahead and do it, show you how I would do it without the petals being made. So I'm just going to put my zip tie right there, okay? And I'm just going to do my gathering. And then I'm just going to kind of play with the petal, and you're going to just kind of tuck things in a little bit, and that's okay. You're going to play around with it. I don't need a perfectly V'd or W-like petal. I want it to be kind of organic, and I want it to be just the way, you know, things are. Everything's not perfect. So I'm going to do that. Let's do another one. Just lay your zip tie there. So this way we have 3 per section. So for me, I'm going to do 18 instead of just 10 or 12. I should say 12. I'm sorry. I'm thinking of a 10-inch wreath frame, and I am not working with a 10-inch wreath frame. I'm working with a 14-inch Dollar Tree wreath frame. And you can adjust this, you know, according to if you had like a 12-inch or even a 16-inch. You know, if you had a 16-inch, you might need to put plastic canvas in the middle, and then create another row just to make sure that the hole for the sign filled everything in. So, okay, so I like how this is all looking. So I'm just going to keep repeating this process. My words are leaving me. I'm just going to keep repeating this process till I get all the way around, and then we will work on our sign. And it's pretty easy. I think this will fit in between a door and a storm door, which I like that too. So hold on, we'll be right back. At this point, I want you to spray your wreath with this Rust-Oleum clear matte spray. This is satin that I have, but this will help stiffen the petals. It will help seal your edges and just give you a look that you're wanting to go for. Now we're going to add the sign. And this is going a little bit fast for me, but we'll deal with it. See how I'm kind of pulling on some of the petals? Yep, you can do that. So what we're going to do is we are just going to use the 2 holes that Trendy Tree has in their sign. And I'm just going to attach it underneath with a zip tie. You are going to see a little bit of that zip tie, but that is okay. It's going to be just fine. And then I'm going to flip it over, and I'm going to connect it. And I'm going to show you here in a moment. And that is just connected to the bar of the frame. And we're going to do the same thing at the top of the wreath too. We're just going to turn it around. I'm going to pull out some of those petals a little bit more and just attach it the exact same way. And so now I'm going to get ready and make a bow for this wreath. Okay, so I wimped out. I'm going with the black. I know maybe red would have been a pop of color, but I just don't know. I wanted to do the black. So all we're going to do is a very simple bow here, and I don't really have that much ribbon left on here, and it's just a good way to use it up. So what we want to do is we want to create our tail first, and I always like to make a tail that's a little bit longer than I need. So I'm going to do a 10-inch tail. I'm not going to keep it this long. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to gather here, and what I want is, I want to say like a 4-inch loop. Okay, so if I want to do a 4-inch loop, I'm going to take and I'm going to measure 8 inches, and I'm going to gather that, and I'm going to bring it back towards the middle, and then I will twist this so that the right side of the ribbon is showing. And again, I'm going to measure it at 8 inches. I'm going to take it and I'm going to bring it back to the middle, and then I'm going to twist it. So we're just making the simplest of bows, okay? Just going to take a wire. You could use a Chanel stem if you'd like, but I'm going to use a wire here. And I'm just going to twist this really good. And this wire's a little bit, probably a little bit stiffer than I would normally use, but that's what I had on hand. Okay, so now I'm going to cut my ribbon. Again, simple bow. Anybody can make this. Even if you say I don't make bows, you can make this bow. Okay, so I'm gonna look at my bow here. You could leave it at that, but I always like to put something in the middle of that. So what I want to do is I'm going to take a little bit of my ribbon here, and I'm just simply going to fold it in. Actually, I'm going to do another one there, okay? And then I'm going to take that go over it, and then that really finishes the bow off really nice. So what I do is I go one direction and the other direction, and then I'm going to take that wire and go over it again and just twist to secure it. I would probably use thinner wire. I think this gauge wire is just really thick. It's like 20 or 22. Okay, so now I'm going to straighten this out. And what you could do is you could either like glue it to the back there, but I'm just going to cut it and just see if we can make this work. My scissors are getting stuck. Okay. Make sure that they're not going to show. Okay. So there is our bow. So let's figure out how much we want those loops. You know what? I'm going to cut the loops once I get it on the sign. All right. So we just want a simple bow. So you know where we put the zip tie? We're going to put this wire in the same spot. I'm going to put one end and then one end on the outside. So one in the hole and one on the outside. And we're going to go all the way through till we get to the other side here. So, and you really don't need to go, let's just flip this over. All right, so you can see it and pull it. Okay, I don't need to attach this to the wreath frame. Attaching it to the sign, let me look here. I know you guys can't see it. Give me a moment. All right, attaching it to the sign is going to be enough. All right, so you're just going to twist it. And then I think I'm going to put it underneath the wreath frame here. Just make sure we're... Yeah, I wouldn't use this thick of wire that I just used. It's a little, I think that's like a 20 gauge. You'd want like a 22, maybe a 24, 26. Okay. I'm going to flip it over. All right. So as you can see, just gonna kind of work at the bow, and I want you to see the farmer's market. Okay, so this is where I'm going to decide that my tails should be a lot shorter than I had hoped. Okay, so there's that one. I know I'm playing dangerously here doing this by eyeballing it, but we all do that, don't we? We all eyeball stuff. All right, so what you could do is you could like even, I think I need to trim that one just a little bit more. You could even glue this down to the sign just a little bit to get it to be seen. But I think that's really cute. I just love the way that looks. I hope you enjoyed this. I'm gonna just kind of maybe lift it up there a little bit. Alrighty, I'll play with that. But yes, that's it, guys. I think it's pretty simple. I think that anybody could do this if you are a beginner. Give it a try. I think that you would be surprised how easy it is to make one of these wreaths. And I'm happy to hopefully inspire you to try it. So remember, you can go to Trendy Tree. My link is in the description box below, and I'll try to pin it for you in the comments. You can get signs like this. They also have so many different other signs, like for berries and grapes and lemons and all sorts of things. They just have a lot of signs that I really think goes well with this buffalo check. I also want to add that when you're getting this burlap is a lot tighter of a weave. So I know that other stores sell things similar. Just make sure it's a really tight weave instead of that, you know, more see-through weave, because I think you're going to have a lot of fraying if you don't. But listen, if you made it this far in the video, number one, I am so appreciative of you taking your time to watch one of my videos. I would love it if you would like and comment and let me know if you like the video. What do you want to see me make next? I'm always open to some ideas. Also, make sure you are subscribed, and if you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button and click that notification bell so it'll let you know when I put up a new video. And lastly, if you've made it this far, would you leave me some sort of fruit emoji, since we have a fruit sign? And this sign is so cute. I don't know, it might go up on my front door. I don't know that I'm going to sell this. It's a big decision for me, but I appreciate you being here. Make sure you like, subscribe, join my wreath group, follow me on Facebook, follow me on Instagram, and we'll see you next time in Julie's Wreath Boutique.